afternoon, Tim Callanan with ABC News. The AFL Grand Final parade is getting underway in Melbourne with thousands of Western Bulldogs and Sydney Swans supporters lining the route to the MCG. James Hancock is there.
Die-hard fans from both sides have created a sea of red, white and blue by proudly donning their team's scarves and jerseys. Western Bulldogs supporters Daryl Odgers and his wife Heather met in the side's cheer squad in 1985. They're hopeful Footscray's 62-year premiership drought will end tomorrow.
It'd be a dream come true.
I've been emotional all week.
But Sydney supporter Kate Mills is confident the Swans can claim a sixth Grand Final win.
They'll give it a good crack and they won't stop till they do.
The parade will head from the old Treasury building in Spring Street through East Melbourne before ending at Yarra Park.
And there'll be more on the Grand Final later in the bulletin. Several towns north of Adelaide remain on high alert as floodwaters continue to rise after severe storms swept across South Australia. Matthew Smith reports.
After 2 days of rain already, so catchments overflowed last night. More than 70 millimetres fell in the North and South Parra rivers. Houses are under threat, caravan parks have been evacuated, and the SES has carried out several swiftwater rescues of people on top of cars. Matthew Link had water coming into his car before help arrived.
The CFS come in and we jumped on the truck. They brought us out and then we pulled it out.
The rapidly rising floodwaters are cause for concern for grape grower Neil Hahn.
These vines here, they should be right, providing if the water can clear pretty quickly.
There is also concern in Adelaide's southern suburbs from the Onkaparinga River.
The Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull says he's disappointed his former colleague Wyatt Roy chose to travel to Iraq against the government's advice. Mr Roy travelled to northern Iraq where he met Kurdish Peshmerga fighters battling IS and during the trip became caught up in a firefight between the two sides. The former Liberal MP escaped unharmed, but he's been strongly criticised by the Foreign Minister for defying official government advice not to travel to the region. Mr Turnbull has told Macquarie Radio Mr Roy was foolish to put himself at risk of harm and capture.
Yes, it was very stupid, and I'm disappointed in Wyatt. He shouldn't have gone there. He knows that the official Australian government advice is do not travel to Iraq.
The Victorian Public Transport Minister says if Melbourne's rail and tram operators don't comply with new performance targets, they risk losing their contracts. Jacinta Allen has demanded Metro Trains and Yarra Trams meet tough new requirements to improve network performance as the operators look to secure new contracts. The move is aimed at ending the practice of trains skipping stations to avoid penalties for late arrivals. Ms Allen says if the operators don't agree to the new requirements, the contracts may be put out to open tender.
Now, if at the end of this process, if we don't reach agreement with the operators, well, then that is where the government has its options to put it out into an open market.
Sales of new homes have bounced back in August after taking a dive in the previous month. Housing Industry Association figures show seasonally adjusted sales rose by 6.1% last month. Victorian detached home sales fared the worst of the mainland states, falling 5%. Banking analysts say they'll keep a close eye on Germany's largest bank, Deutsche Bank, for any substantial signs of instability. Reports emerged overnight about a number of hedge funds pulling money out of the German bank's prime brokerage business. But comparisons to the US bank, Lehman Brothers, which collapsed in 2008, are being described as premature. Returning to the AFL, and Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge insists his players have been able to distance themselves from the emotion surrounding the club's first grand final appearance in 55 years against Sydney at the MCG tomorrow. Emotions are running high in Melbourne's western suburbs, with as many as 10,000 supporters attending an open training session yesterday as the club seeks to win just its second premiership. Beveridge says it's been important for the club to shield his inexperienced side from the off-field excitement.
All our people who work in our departments have done an enormous job off the field and have done a tremendous job just protecting the players, I suppose, from what's going on externally.
And now the weather, and there's a strong wind warning for the west coast and east Gippsland coast. For the state, scattered showers tending to rain in the northeast, isolated thunderstorms possible during the afternoon over central and eastern districts. For Melbourne, partly cloudy with a high chance of showers, a top of 15. Tomorrow, showers clearing, 18. Sunday, late rain and a top of 23. It's 14 degrees now. ABC News.
If you love being a member of a club, then why not become a member of Facebook, Twitter and Instagram with ABC Grandstand? Stay up to date with sports results and join in discussions on the latest news from around the sporting world.
The Australians like what they've seen.
Plus, view some classic sporting moments posted by the ABC Grandstand team. Explore the world of ABC Grandstand Sport on social media through Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Search ABC Grandstand and become a member today. Tune in with ABC Grandstand tomorrow for the AFL Grand Final.
Grandstand AFL.
He's going to take the long range shot. Wow.
The final series with Grandstand AFL.
Saving its best for last.
Welcome to the 2016 Grand Final Parade on ABC Local Radio and ABC Grandstand Digital.
Grandstand Digital.
It's been a grand final week like no other, as almost all footy fans have been swept up in the magic of the Western Bulldogs. The Dogs' compelling story has taken prominence, while season finals campaigner Sydney has flown largely under the radar. Today, the two teams share the spotlight with the grand final eve tradition, the grand final parade. Lovely to have your company at the grand final parade for Grandstand. Alistair Nicholson. I'll be joined by Clint Wheeldon. We're up near the main stage out the front of the MCG in Yarra Park. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch, they're following the cavalcade, and there are people absolutely everywhere streaming around Yarra Park at the moment and lighting the parade route as well. It is a sea of red, white and blue, with the Swans and Bulldogs fans out in force. And most critically, Clint Wheeldon, as I welcome you, rain was forecast today. We've had a beautiful morning here in Melbourne.
It's the sort of day where you could get yourself a suntan, it has to be said, Al Nicholson. Magnificent morning for it. A few clouds starting to gather above the stage here outside the MCG, but nevertheless, that's deterred no one. And the vast numbers of Bulldog supporters that have turned up, this is their day. There's a little smattering of red and white here and there, but plenty more blue to add to those two earlier colours. There's Swans fans that have made their way down from Sydney, and of course a little contingent still following the South Melbourne Football Club I bumped into earlier today, but certainly the vast numbers there with the Bulldogs, and the cheer that's gone up every time the question's been asked from the stage to the crowd, who do they want to win tomorrow? It's definitely everyone in favour of the Western Bulldogs. Can they break that amazing long run of outs? They've been there, well, they haven't been there since 61, haven't won one since 54, and so often went very close. We know, of course, the 7 preliminary finals they lost before finally getting over the line last weekend in one of the absolute thrillers against the Giants, and they've turned out in big numbers, their fans.
Yes, it's been quite the story, a very compelling one indeed, hasn't it? I was out at the Whitten Oval yesterday, and you've never seen anything like it. At least 8,000 Western Bulldogs fans out at Whitten Oval yesterday, packing it in. And Peter Gordon, the president, stood on the balcony and he spoke about the tough times, including 89 when the club was on its knees, and he thanked the fans who helped save the club, and he said that this weekend is for them, and they have come out in force again today, these Western Bulldogs fans. But Clint, this has pulled at the heartstrings of more than just Bulldogs fans. It's basically every non-Sydney supporter is on the Dogs, but you're over with some Dogs fans at the moment.
I thought I'd find a little Bulldogs family and one of the smallest Bulldogs supporters here, currently doing their very best to chew through a Sharon football. Nice work there. What's your name?
My name's Kyle.
And who's this down here?
This is a little Sienna.
And your partner here?
Catherine.
And you've all got the Bulldog scarves on. You've all got passionate Bulldog supporters. How much are you looking forward to tomorrow? Are there nerves, expectation? How are you feeling?
It's all still a bit surreal, to be honest. Can't actually believe we're at the grand final parade for the Doggies. So whilst these two are going to be staying at home watching it, I'm here with my dad, and we're going to be going. So it's pretty exciting.
Did you ever, in recent years, think that the Bulldogs' time might not come? You've been a Bulldog supporter, I'd imagine, all your life. Most Bulldog supporters are. Did you ever sort of look on enviously with all the other clubs that get their big day here?
Yeah, every year. Yeah, especially since all those prelims we lost. It's been a long couple of years. So the boys are on the way up at the moment. So obviously, they're here, which is good.
And Sienna here, dressed in the Bulldogs scarf and the Bulldogs jumper as well. Never going to be a choice that she'd be anything other than a Bulldogs fan?
No. He had anything to do with it? Absolutely not.
And did you? Were you a Bulldogs supporter originally?
I was, yes.
And what are you most looking forward to tomorrow?
For the Bulldogs to win, of course.
Why do you think they'll win?
Because they're just going to. She's our little lucky charm.
And how old's the little lucky charm here?
Oops, She's nearly 8 months.
Nearly 8 months, fully dressed out in the Bulldogs colours. The Bulldogs family out in force, Al.
Absolutely, Clint. Imagine that. All the Western Bulldogs fans, all those that go right back to 1961 and 1954, and this little youngster might taste a premiership before she even turns one, Clint.
It was remarkable wandering around the Sydney Showgrounds last weekend, and the number of supporters, the Bulldogs fans, who literally could not believe that they were through to a grand final. And you remember walking along them saying, none of you people, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, of those that I saw would have been alive the last time the Bulldogs won a grand final. But they can almost taste it today, and they're not going in with hope. They genuinely believe, the supporters that we've spoken to, that they are going to win, and win well against the Sydney Swans. It would be remarkable considering where they've come from, the way that they stormed up from 7th on the ladder, and let's be honest, how terrible they were against Fremantle in the last game of the home and away season. And the bye, plenty of controversy about whether the bye was a positive or a negative. You certainly can't dispute it's been a massive positive for the Bulldogs. Allowed them to go back home, to reset, allowed them to get the likes of McRae and Liberatore back into their team, and they came back and absolutely crushed the West Coast Eagles in the first week of the final. So no matter what anyone thinks of the bye, I reckon most Bulldog supporters deep down would be pretty happy that they had that extra week's break.
Yeah, you would have to think that Liberatore, Jack McRae, Easton Wood probably all wouldn't have played in that first final against West Coast. And part of the story for the Western Bulldogs has not just been the premiership drought, but it has been these performances during the finals, given no hope against West Coast over in the West. They'd never won an interstate final before. Second week of the finals, they managed to knock out the triple reigning premiers after trailing by 4 goals at 1 point, and then to beat Sydney's Greatest Western Sydney at the Showgrounds last week in the preliminary final. And we know how good GWS had been at the Showgrounds. I'm looking back up through Yarra Park towards the city, and there are just thousands of people piling in here to Yarra Park. It's a similar scene out near the Treasury building and on Spring Street where the parade is starting. We'll go very shortly to Corbin Middlemass and also Matt Clinch, who are on the parade route. But Clint, it's not too hard to find a few supporters around here.
Very easy, and the Bulldogs fans all happy to chat. The helicopters above us here as they circle around as we wait for the teams to make their way down towards this stage just outside the MCG. I bumped into a few more Bulldogs supporters. And Shannon, you're a lifelong Bulldogs fan?
Yes, definitely. Since I was born, whole family, bred and born Doggy supporters. Yep.
And do you go in with confidence or nerves to the grand final?
Nerves. I physically feel sick. I'm pretty sure I stewed from nerves at the last game. But yeah, everything crossed. I'll cry. I'll be crying, definitely. Yep.
Did you get to go up to Sydney, or did you watch on the television?
We watched on the tally. We had some friends over. Watched on the tally. I was actually holding the baby that was asleep 5 minutes before the siren. Had to put him down and was just screaming and jumping around the lounge room, and just tears of happiness, really. So just so excited for the team and all the supporters.
Shannon's got the pram decked out in Bulldogs colours, as you'd expect. BJ's with me as well. And BJ, what did it mean to you as a Bulldogs fan to finally be a part of a grand final?
Oh, awesome, mate, awesome. Never seen one. Just good for the fans, good for the team. Buzz is awesome. The whole town is buzzing.
When you look around and you see the number of Bulldog supporters that are here, what sort of belief does that give you that they can get the job done tomorrow?
100%, mate. Easy. We'll do it.
I know which team you'll pick, but give us an idea. Who do you think will be the Norm Smith medalist? I know they'll be coming from the Bulldogs, considering the jumper you're wearing. Give us an idea for tomorrow. Who wins that?
Oh, you can't go past the Bond and Belly. Hopefully maybe Stringer. Yeah, as long as it's Doggies.
As long as it's Doggies, he doesn't care. I understand that, Al. We'll throw it back to you, and I'll see if I can actually find a Sydney Swans fan amongst this sea of Bulldog supporters.
Good on you, Clint. Clint Wheeldon's roving around here at Yarra Park. Interestingly, the odd Hawthorn jumper in the crowd here as well. Those Hawthorn fans have got so used to being a prominent part of grand final parades and grand final day. It was interesting talking to Sam Mitchell after the Bulldogs had beaten the Hawks in that semi-final and eliminated them from the finals, going for 4 premierships in a row. He was really concerned about breaking the news to his young children that they couldn't be part of the grand final parade, and they have been for a number of years now. This is a novel experience, of course, for these Western Bulldogs players. You have to go back to 1997 before you have a team that had no players that had previous grand final experience. That was St Kilda, and the Western Bulldogs, with Matthew Suckling not picked to play, have no grand final experienced players in their lineup for the match here at the MCG tomorrow. So that's a factor. I'm seeing a young gentleman here in an old Footscray t-shirt looking tremendous, but someone who's bled red, white and blue for a long, long time is the former President David Smorgon, and we can head up towards Spring Street, and I think Matt Clinch might be with him. Clinchy.
We're outside the Treasury building as the crowd is starting to build here, and no shortage of Western Bulldogs fans, and one in which I've noticed amongst the crowd is the former President David Smorgon, who's good enough to join us on Grandstander. David, welcome. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very excited, and I'm just so pleased to see so many hundreds, thousands of Bulldog people here enjoying the moment. It's really quite touching, and I'm sure, like I am, they're all looking forward to a wonderful next 36 hours or so.
Is it nerves? Is it excitement? Obviously, you know some of the challenges the club has faced, and you think of the 10,000 that were there at Whitten Oval for training yesterday, and the Bulldog supporters that have come out of the woodwork this week, some who haven't been seen for a while, but many who are enjoying the moment.
Days like this, it doesn't matter where they've been, as long as they're wearing the red, white and blue. And yesterday, yes, we had more at training on a Thursday morning. We used to get to watch games play, but that's another story. But I think it's a real mix of emotions. It's one of excitement. It's one of sharing the pride in the way the club has handled itself over recent times, and certainly over the course of this year, despite all the adversity with injuries. We've just never complained, and one bloke's gone down, another one's come in to take his place. And just to see the crowd, the old ones, the young ones, all decked out, it's a very touching moment.
I think Bulldog supporters would have dreamed about getting this stage in grand final week. Have you had a couple of favourite stories that people have come up and spoke to you during the week about what it means to be a part of grand final week?
I think we could write a book or two with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 volumes, because everyone has a story. I just met a guy who was born in Braybrook, now lived in Brisbane all his life. He came down for the 61 grand final, saw us lose to Hawthorn, and is back today to hopefully see us knock off the Swans. And every person that comes up to you, shakes your hand and has got something to say about what following football, AFL football, and what the Bulldogs means to them. It's very moving.
Where do you watch tomorrow from?
I'm watching from the stand, if I can keep my eyes open, which I'm sure I will. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think we've got the team, the form, the experience, despite our youth, to knock off the Swans.
David, great to see you down here. Good luck tomorrow, and thanks for chatting with us.
Thanks, Matt. Bye.
That's the former Bulldogs president David Smorgon speaking with Matt Clinch up near the Treasury building. Matt and Corbin Middlemass are amongst the players. We'll get to Corbin very shortly, who's with a few of the Sydney Swans grand final players. But the story of this week has partly been those Bulldogs fans, and some of them go way, way back to a time where they never would have thought that they'd be waiting over 60 years for another premiership. Clint's found one of those.
I'm with Hugh, who's been a member since 1949, says on the back of his Bulldogs membership card. You remember the last premiership win here?
Yeah, 54, I was there, 10-year-old.
How did you go to the game in those days? Did you go along with family?
Yeah, auntie and uncle took my sister and I to the grand final. But my sister and I used to walk down Barclay Street to the games every week, and friends of ours drove us to the away games. So we never really missed a game.
What are the memories casting your mind right back? It was a long time ago, 1954.
Well, no, actually, one of the greatest memories I've got is I went to school at St John's, West Footscray, just down in Eleanor Street, and I couldn't wait for Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'd go up the training with the dogs, go in the rooms with the players. I only wish we had the iPhone cameras that they've got today. I'd have heaps of photos.
Can you believe you've had to wait this long to be in another grand final?
Sure, yeah. It's just disappointment, you know. Probably should have got there under Rocket. Very unlucky that year. But anyway, we've got the right team now. I think these boys will be contesting finals for the next few years, like Hawthorn and Geelong did.
Why do you think, and obviously you think they're going to win it, why do you think they're going to win it?
Well, just that they're such a never-say-die team. I've seen so many teams over the years of ours where they've been behind, you'd expect them to come from behind and win, and they wouldn't do it. But this side, they never let you down.
You've seen so many great players along the time. Who stands out as the Bulldogs player for someone who's was a member since the age of 5, 1949? Who's the best you've seen?
Oh, Teddy Whitten, without a doubt. He could play various positions, ruck, centre forward, centre back, you name it, he did it. Beautiful kick, terrific to watch.
Nice to see the new scarf on. Member since 1949. That's absolutely remarkable, Al, and we wish Hugh the very best of luck. I know he's all fired up for grand final day tomorrow.
Thanks to Clint and Hugh there. If you look at the two teams we mentioned, none of the Western Bulldogs players have played in a grand final before, but they've got some experienced grand final campaigners, some inexperienced Swans as well, with 9 of their 22 named for tomorrow having never played in a grand final. Let's see if we can head in amongst some of the Sydney players now, because Grandstand's Corbin Middlemass is up on the parade route. Corby.
Luke Parker, runner-up in the Brownlow medal. What's the week been like?
Yeah, it's obviously been exciting. It's the time of year you want to be playing, and look, it's been a big build-up. We've had a really good training session earlier on in the week with a heap of fans there and showing their support, which was great, and then to come out here today is just slowly building up to tomorrow.
This is your third grand final. I think you had the sub-best on at some stage of the first one. Obviously 2014 didn't go according to plan, and this time last year you were on the sidelines during the final series. I guess, what's the comparison like from the previous years?
Oh, it's look, it's completely different each year, I think. Grand final wise this year has been so exciting, seeing the young guys come through, and just shows we don't need a middle-aged team and a lot of experience to get here, and I think that's comes down to our leaders leading the way, and the young guys really jumping on board and playing some really great football. But for me, I'm just happy to be playing at this time of year. Last year it's hard missing out, and it's disappointing, but you get to appreciate this time of year.
Just lastly, is the knee okay?
Yeah, it's all sweet, mate. Yep, all good.
Enjoy tomorrow.
Thanks, bud. Cheers.
Kieran Jack, co-captain of the Sydney Swans. I noticed Jared sitting up the front and did the press conference. How do you decide who takes the lead role on the day?
It's just it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I mean, in 2014, I did the press conference. We thought we've been lucky enough to be in a couple of grand finals now. We can experience some different roles. So he's done the press conference today, and he's done well.
What happens tomorrow with the coin toss, and if you're lucky enough to hold the cup up at the end, who goes up?
We'll deal with it when it happens. We're co-captains. We do things together. I dare say that's what will happen.
How's the body?
Yeah, good. Yeah, feeling as good as can be. We're really confident in our preparation. I think we're in good form too. So we'll take that. We'll be confident in our processes, and that's what we need to bring tomorrow.
How have you approached the week, knowing that you're almost pushing against the fairy tale run that the Dogs have created? Have you, I guess, thought about that at all during the week?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people talk about there's plenty of stories. A lot of the stories that have been thrown around the media are all the Western Bulldog stories. Well, we've got plenty of stories as well, and we're not too focused on it. We're focused purely on our story and what we can accomplish, and hopefully we can do it tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you, mate.
John Longmire back again on grand final week. How does this one compare?
They're all great experiences to be a part of grand final week. You never know when you're going to be back here again. We've been fortunate to be back here a couple of times, and you appreciate it for what it's worth. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I loved your quote the other night in your press conference. A journalist asked you at the end about how do you go playing against the Giants or the Bulldogs trying to create so much history, and your response was, so are we. Do you feel a little bit like you're getting in the ring with Rocky Balboa, knowing, I guess, the fairy tale run that they're on?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, in the end, we've been up in Sydney all week, and we prepared up there and do what we had to do up there. Then we came down last night and trained as normal last night, so it hasn't been too different to what we normally prepare for. We understand the interest in the doggies, absolutely we do, but it has no bearing on what we need to do tomorrow.
Selection during the week, obviously 2 of the boys got up from injuries, and now Aaliyah isn't here. How tough has the week been on that front?
Oh, it's always tough. It's tough for both coaches, always grand final week in regards to making those calls or seeing players that can't quite get up, and unfortunately Aaliyah he didn't get there. He had a great sort of back half of the year. We're really proud of what he's been able to do. But he's not playing tomorrow, and it's about the 22 that are.
Hope for your stage. You're on the stage at the end. All the best.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Corbin Middlemass there with some of the Swans, including their coach John Longmire, who's been a premiership coach before, and he tastes premiership success again with the Sydney Swans. The crowd in front of us here, down in front of the main stage near Gate 3 at the MCG, filling in a big way here. There's not a lot of room left, and the players, as they make their way down along Wellington Parade, having left Spring Street, are going to be presented up on the stage here for the fans. It's going to be quite something. The weather's clouding over just a fraction, but still we haven't had any of the forecast rain, and people have certainly seized the opportunity with the public holiday here in Victoria to get along and support the two teams who are playing in the grand final tomorrow. In a moment we're going to get to Matt Clinch, who's with the Bulldogs, but Clint Wheeldon, amongst all the Bulldogs fans here, you've found a swan or two?
Have indeed, and it is very loud down here too, as I mentioned before. All the helicopters you can hear just hovering above us, and there's a huge turn up, massive contingent of Bulldogs fans. But in amongst them, just a little dot or two of red and white. I've got a couple of Swans fans who I believe are old Bloods fans, genuine South Melbourne supporters. What's your name, sir?
Ken Sinclair.
Ken Sinclair, the Swans. They've been a dominant team in recent years. Confident that you can do it again?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No worries at all. They'll get that across the line.
Why did you stick around with Sydney after South Melbourne moved north?
I tried to change my colours, actually. We were living in East Bentley at the time, and I said to myself, we went to all the Save Swans at South Sydney meetings and everything, and I went and watched a couple of games at Moorabbin and just couldn't do it. So anyway, yeah, we stuck with the Swans.
Good choice in the end in terms of the titles that you've had. You going along tomorrow?
No, we're going to watch it at home.
Do you ever get used to days like this? You've had a few, but they are very special.
No, you don't get used to them. You can't get used to it. No, every time we come here, my wife brings my mum here every year to the parade, has been for the last 10 years. And we've got a couple of relations that play in the AFL, one being Sam Reid and Ben Reid. So, yeah, we're pretty much tied up with it.
How are you related to the Reids?
Family.
Yeah. Close?
Second cousins.
Okay.
Yep.
Very nice.
We all come from Romsey originally.
Right, okay. Yeah. And this is your mum down here, Margaret, I believe, is that right?
That's right, yes.
Looking very good with the red and white scarf on, Margaret. How much do you look forward to these sort of days? I would imagine you've had the opportunity to come to one or two of them.
Yes, I have. And I'm enjoying it. I love it, yes.
What are you hoping for tomorrow from the Swans?
Oh, I hope we win.
Why do you think you'll win?
I said I hope we win.
What do you think you'll win?
Well, I hope so.
What do you think's going to be the difference if the Swans get up tomorrow? Who's your favourite player out there?
Oh, I couldn't say that. I like all of them.
I should never ask these questions to a lady, but how many years have you been following the Swans for?
Oh, God, how long, Ken?
About 50 years.
You've had a decade in the red and white. That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Well, enjoy today and enjoy tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good on you, Margaret. Margaret and Ken there, Al.
Fans here full of hope, Clint, in varying colours. There's no doubt about that. There goes a couple of young Bulldogs. I'm speaking literally, a couple of little Bulldogs walking past. I saw one called Rosie who was a little bit disobedient before, but decked out in a Western Bulldogs jumper and rolling around on the ground for a tickle. They're all tickled pink, the Bulldogs fans down here today. How are the players feeling? Let's take you into the Western Bulldogs camp because Matt Clinch is following the cavalcade.
Well, seems only fitting we start at the very front of the Western Bulldogs cars, and Easton Wood, the Bulldogs captain for tomorrow, can join us. Easton, thanks for your time, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, feel great, mate. Can't wait to get out there.
In terms of the week, how have you managed to get yourself through it? Have you sort of broken it down to training parade and then sort of switch off? And I guess a bit of history for you as well. As much as you'd love to see the man sitting alongside you, Bob Murphy, out there, a chance to lead the Bulldogs into just there, or become just the third man to captain the club in a grand final.
Just been trying to soak it all in, keep business as usual as possible. Obviously, it's not a normal week. You don't get here every day, so it's been a special week, and just been trying to take each moment as it comes, and I feel like that's put us in the best stead for tomorrow.
Sort of looking forward to getting through today, and I guess that's the last of the formalities, a chance to switch off the phone and spend a time with family and get ready to go for tomorrow.
Absolutely, that's it.
Cool. And I guess in terms of the leading into the opening bounce, are you a guy who thinks about what you're going to say to the Chargers for one last time, or you just whatever comes off the cuff will get rolled out?
No, I'll have a think about that probably tomorrow morning, maybe even tonight, but yeah, I'll leave the content of that for the boys out there.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Cheers.
Well, Matty Boyd from the Western Bulldogs has been good enough to join us on Grandstand AFL. Just explain who you've got on your lap here firstly.
Yeah, we've got Chloe, who's 5, and we've got Asher, who's 2.5, and I don't think she'll shut up the whole time.
You might have your hands full on grand final day, but you might have your hands full in this parade as well.
I've got I've got my hands full at home. We've got another one at home, so he was a bit young. He's only 8.5 months, so he certainly wouldn't make it sitting on the lap.
Obviously 2003, back when you made your debut a long time ago, to see what grand final week is actually involved, you'd be able to, I guess, reminisce and understand a lot of the Bulldogs fans and what they're going through this week.
Yeah, it's great to see so many Bulldogs people out and about today, and I think we had about 10,000 at training yesterday, and the first time in 55 years they've had an opportunity to see their team grand final week, and they've certainly come out in great support. And it's funny that I suppose the bloke with the most experience and the oldest bloke is sitting next to the bloke with the least experience, and in his 16th or 17th game he's going to play in a grand final, so I'm wrapped for him and for all our boys.
That's you, and that's Josh Dunkley who sits alongside you, and I guess not too many players have played alongside Luke Beveridge as well. You can actually tick that one off as well. Was it VFL back at Frankston days you actually played a game together?
Yeah, we spent 1 year together at the Frankston Dolphins in the VFL. I only played one senior game that year, and Bevo was obviously finishing up his career at VFL level in that year. Didn't get to play too much footy with him, but yeah, it's been a long relationship that's been dragged out over a long period of time.
Yes, the $64,000 question is, from a player to a coach, how much of what you saw back then do you see now, and how's he kept this week as calm as possible?
Oh, yeah, he's kept it pretty calm, and I think that's been one of Bevo's strengths throughout the whole year, is to keep the players pretty calm and relaxed. So it's been no different this week. But to be honest with you, what was it, 16, 17 years ago I played at Frankston. I cannot remember much about it. So yeah, as I said, I couldn't tell you what he was like, because I was just struggling to keep my head above water, to be honest.
So you would have had lots of text messages and phone calls and run into Bulldogs fans at the Whitten Oval. Is there a couple that have sort of really stuck with you this week?
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of text and correspondence so far in the week. It's just nice to hear from old teammates who, we've been through a lot together, and given those 8, 9 and 10 prelims that we went through and didn't quite make it, and for those guys to be talking to me and to us who have been involved in that, and really feel like they're still part of it, is really special, for us guys.
Appreciate your time. Enjoy the parade and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks very much, guys.
Matt Clinch on the parade route there with some of the Bulldogs. Matthew Boyd there. I don't think you'll ever forget the premiership if they win tomorrow, the Western Bulldogs. The Premiership Cup's just made its way past the MCG with Michael O'Loughlin. Played over 300 games for the Swans and a premiership player as well. Let's take you back into the Swans camp with Corbin Middlemass.
I'm here with Dan Hannebery, who's performed well on this day in the past. What's it like this time around?
Oh, yeah, it looks really exciting. Obviously we get to sit back and enjoy the parade and sort of switch off a little bit, but certainly, we've got a really, massive job ahead of us, and we're really focused on putting, our last huge effort in for that 2 hours tomorrow.
Obviously, the last time you were on Grand Final Day in 2014, it didn't go the way that you wanted it to. Does that still burn with this playing group?
Yeah, clearly that's a frustration that you have within you, and you sort of. It's a long time ago now, and this is a completely different team, really, to that day. So we'll be looking to write our own chapter. But yeah, there's a burning feeling in there from that day.
You're a Melbourne boy, obviously growing up here and experiencing Grand Final week. You've now done it 3 times as a player. Is it special every time?
Yeah, it is. I think your first times, you remember that the whole time. It's just such a blur, and you're so excited. And the second time, you try to take it all in a little bit. And certainly you just want to try and relax and keep it as simple as you can, and like any other week, really. Although it is a massive occasion, but I'm really confident the guys we're prepared as well as we possibly can. And what will be, will be.
So what do you do from here, Dan, after the parade finishes? Talk us through the timeline before the Grand Final begins.
Yeah, look, we'll go to the hotel and do our normal preparation, which is just to take it pretty easy tonight, get amongst each other, and tomorrow we'll wake up, we'll have a little run around, get ready, and basically straight to the ground. So pretty cruisy preparation. We'll really started getting into it tomorrow about 1 o'clock.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, mate.
I've got Gary Rowan alongside me. Gary, you were making your way off the ground only 2 weeks ago in a Medicab. Did you think that you'd be here today?
At that stage, no, I didn't think I was going to be here, but I got the result that night, all clear, trained that week, and I was pretty confident against Geelong I'd get up, and I'm lucky to be here.
You had that horrific broken leg in the last premiership year in 2012 and obviously played in 2014, and it didn't go your way. How long have you been chasing this, and how much does that burn to get back here?
Yeah, it's been a while to chase this. Every pre-season you think about it. The expression on the 2012 faces of the boys who won it. I wanted that feeling. 14 didn't really go our way. It was devastating. So I'll be doing all I can this week not to make sure I can do that again.
And how's the leg?
Yeah, leg is fine, 100%, ready to go.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Gary Rowan and Dan Hanbury with Corbin Middlemass there. Yes, Gary Rowan, always something to do with the leg around grand final time. It is terrific to see he's going to be able to play here tomorrow. Clint Wilden and Alistair Nicholson with you at Yarra Park, because his pace will be important. You go back to 2012 when they won the premiership. Clint, he played early in the season, broke his leg in horrific circumstances, missed the flag, and as Corbin mentioned there, he was part of the losing team in 14.
And that's the same for both of them, the fact that they know how much it hurts to lose one of these. And let's not forget, the experience will have a factor. 8 of these Swans players have won grand finals before, and 13 of the group have actually been to a grand final. And we saw it last year. I have no doubt the enormity of appearing in a first grand final had a fair bit to do with what happened to West Coast. The way that they were absolutely jumping at shadows at times, the enormity they've spoken about when they ran out for the first time and realised what they were playing in, that's something the Bulldogs will have to overcome. It's something that there's enough Swan players around to be able to let their teammates know exactly what to expect.
It's going to be really interesting, because the Bulldogs have had that question hanging over them through the entire finals series. You did the first final they played in Perth, where the Eagles were a raging favourite. Their end of season form had been superb. The Bulldogs had their injury worries, had never won an interstate final. Not only did they win well there, they then beat Hawthorn the following week and had another against the odds victory against Greater Western Sydney at the Showground. So surely that has garnered a real sense of belief.
Well, they tick every box in terms of what they've been able to achieve on the way through, winning interstate, and the way that they've been able to go about it. That West Coast performance was just remarkable. And then to come from behind, which people seem to overlook all the time, 4 minutes into that final term against the Giants, they were down by 14 points, which at the time was a game-high lead. To fight back, they are a team that just does not know how to give in. The question that will be asked again, though, was that, and this is something that we've all been asking throughout the final series, remember they've been on the knife edge the entire time, it's been do or die every week for the Bulldogs, was that their grand final last week? You saw the emotion afterwards, you saw what it meant, and talking to people who were down in the rooms, the sheer jubilation shown by not just the coaching staff and not just the players, but everyone involved around the camp. I wonder whether or not that will have any sort of an impact come grand final day. I hope not, because the fairy tale would be remarkable if they're able to withstand what will be an amazing onslaught from Sydney. They will come out and try and do to the Bulldogs exactly what they did to Geelong.
I think it's been fantastic the way Luke Beveridge has harnessed that emotion. And he's embraced it, and he wants the team to feed off it. They had an open training session yesterday on a Thursday before the grand final. Some coaches would have wanted to try and block all of that out, not overwhelm the players, but I can sense he really wants those players feeding off every ounce of emotion that these Bulldogs fans are bringing. I think that Matt Clinch might have snuck over to some of the younger Bulldogs, including one who's played an enormous role for the club this year. Clinchy.
Well, Marcus Bontempelli in his third AFL season, All-Australian, his 63rd game on the weekend, and it'll be a grand final. Tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah, I think for now we're pretty excited just to embrace all the people here and take off down the road for this parade. But yeah, we know it's going to be an exciting build-up for all of us, a pretty young crew who are ready to experience whatever comes.
Spoken a bit about learning the history of Footscray and the Bulldogs and understanding the fabric of the club, to see so many supporters at the Whitten Oval yesterday and to come out today and see them almost from left to right as far as the eye can see. How does that sort of make you feel?
Yeah, it's great to see the red, white and blue here today, and we know that the journey that this club's been on, and particularly the journey that we've been on as players, and we still have one more mountain to climb. We've still got one more fight in us, so we're just really looking forward to what's to come today and tomorrow.
Brownlow medal on Monday night, you took your mum along, and you're sort of looking forward to getting to a stage where you can just turn the phone on and really focus on tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we're probably at that a tiny bit. We've had our last training session today, and now we're probably, we're just going to look forward to what's to come today, and we'll approach tomorrow probably when it arrives and not go too far, looking too far into the future.
From a personal point of view, how are you guys sleeping? Are you the kind of guy who gets nervous or anxious, or can you shut it all out?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I've never been a real nervous type of sleeper, and I think it's just the the ability for the coaches and the sports staff to keep us calm and keep us focused going into tomorrow. But really looking forward to it. I'll calm down a bit later tonight and just soak it in. Yeah.
Good luck. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Ta.
One man whose family has been Footscray and the Western Bulldogs, Zane Corney, can join us on Grandstand. Welcome, and how's the week been?
It's been pretty exciting, actually. Yeah, it's been a pretty big build-up. Plenty of crowds coming to training, so it's been very exciting.
Obviously, from a family point of view, your dad has been involved, your brother as well. Any family advice, or have you caught up with them during the week?
Yeah, I've had a few chats to them, but pretty much their only bit of advice has been just have fun, enjoy the week.
And in terms of the phone calls and text messages, have you received plenty of messages and support from mates and family and friends?
Yeah, it's been going flat stick the last 5 days. Even people I haven't seen for about 5 years, so yeah, it's been pretty good.
That was Zane Cordy there with Corbin Middle, with Matt Clinch. And Clint is beside me. We're down at Yarra Park where the atmosphere just continues to build. And part of the atmosphere, the man who's produced many a footy anthem, Mike Brady's performing. Let's take some of it in.
And we know that you won't let us down.
Oh, well, Mike's just given us the closing statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Brady, he'll be back
in
at the
September.
MCG tomorrow in the pre-match.
Craig Willis is doing the honours up on the stage, and shortly we'll welcome the players who aren't too far away from arriving here on the main stage out the front of the MCG, where Clint, it was a huge crowd before. They are just piling in here.
They continue to stream down, do their best to avoid the few muddy patches that they have to step over the top of. And nice to see a couple that have actually brought actual bulldogs down here, and you were able to spend a bit of time with one of them earlier on, Al, having a great old time rolling around in the mud. Not you, the bulldog I'm speaking of. And I do love the fact that the actual bulldog's name is Sid. That's, of course, the traditional mascot. But nice to see so many bulldogs and bulldogs make their way down to the park for part of what is just a terrific day. The weather continues to be blue skies mostly overhead, but we've just seen the Premiership Cup now presented to the crowd. Michael O'Loughlin speaking on stage to the massive Bulldog supporters, and there is a little pocket of Sydney Swans fans just in front of the stage. They're making their presence felt as well, waving the red and white flags to just let everyone know that they are out and about. And fascinating the number of, as I mentioned before, the South Melbourne supporters that have stayed true to the Swans, and those that have travelled down from Sydney, and something that they've got a little bit used to in recent times too.
Well, it's good to see that Sid the Bulldog is actually going to be allowed to come tomorrow after initially not being allowed to come, but it does pose a bit of a problem, I think, going forward. And imagine if Greg Swan gets his idea up for a live line after all, and the Brisbane Lions become successful again. They're going to have to allow a live line into the MCG. I'm not
Brian's
sure how
not
that's
enough.
going to go. No,
Brian the line's not enough for the
Brian
Brisbane?
the line's been a little deflated in recent times. The crowd continues to gather here. We await the players. Michael O'Loughlin's up on the stage having a bit of a chat at present. He's the Cup ambassador and obviously a name synonymous with the Sydney Swans. In over 300 games he played, a premiership player as well. It is
tough.
quite get an eyeball on where the players are at the moment. I think some of them have gathered behind the main stage, Clint.
It is tough from where we are to actually just see the players make their way in. They've actually blacked out the area, but the sheer vast numbers of supporters that are now pouring into this area in front of us, with the stage to the right of where we're broadcasting from near Gate 3 at the MCG. That's a pretty telling thing that the players have made their way down and they're ready to go and about to be presented on stage, the Sydney Swans and the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, visualise the train doors opening at Jolimont. It feels like we're standing at the exit to the train station, because there are just hundreds upon hundreds of people filing in front of us. We had a nice little patch of grass and a clearing in front of us before now, Clint, but I think we're going to be suffocated by all the fans who've come out in force. I mean, there's a smattering of other teams' colours. I saw an Essendon supporter with the Joe Watson number 4. I've seen the odd Hawk and a few Magpies supporters.
I've seen a number of young kids wearing Hawthorn jumpers. It must be strange for them to not have Hawthorn in.
The questions that are being asked at home.
What's going on, Mum?
What's happened, Mum? It's very hard to explain. At the other end of the scale, I have a young son who barracks for Brisbane, and forever talking to him about that cycle of football that hasn't quite turned yet, Clint. But this is a great scene here, just peering across the the throng of supporters, and because also you have Sydney wearing red and white as well, and the red, white and blue of the Bulldogs, it's just a continuum of the same colours going all the way across down towards Punt Road.
There is a genuine sea of blue here, though. I would say 90% Western Bulldogs supporters over the Sydney Swans, who are doing their best to be heard. But the Bulldogs, of course, looking for so much history. They're only ever premiership in 54. The last time they were in a grand final was 1961. Of course, there's a nice little link between the Swans because both sides' last grand final appearance, they lost to Hawthorn Sydney in 2014, the Bulldogs in 61.
Let's take you up onto the stage now, and we'll take in some of the pre-festivities before the players are presented to the massive fans here.
Smashed that record. There must be well over 180,000 people here, so thank you for turning out, all of you, for supporting our grand final. I've just got one favour to ask of you. You look so fantastic out there. Do you mind if I take a photo? Thank you. Enjoy today. Have a great day tomorrow. Go Doggies.
Has made his colours known. Robert Doyle there. Here's Craig Willis.
We're going to have a chat with the captain, co-captain, Jared McVeigh, and also with coach John Longmire. And then, of course, we'll have the Bulldogs out here with Luke Beveridge and Easton Wood. And it's great to see Bob Murphy with the team in that parade here this afternoon. And also, can I just remind you, over at the Punt Road Oval this afternoon is the NAB AFL All-Stars match. And that's Team O'Loughlin with Michael playing Team Judd with Chris Judd at the helm there. And that is on later today, the NAB AFL All-Stars match, which is taking place at Punt Road. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Sydney Swans.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white, honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. What though the odds be great or small, the Swans will go in and win overall, while her loyal sons are marching onward to victory.
The Swans make their way onto the stage, some of them with premiership experience, some of them with grand final experience, but several of them as well, Clint, having never been here before. So while we talk about the Western Bulldogs with their inexperience also in the Sydney ranks.
Certainly a number of youngsters. Isaac Heaney, who is a big chance of winning the Gary Ayres medal, the best player throughout the final series. One of those, just 38 games for Isaac Heaney, so his 38th will be a grand final against the Western Bulldogs. The camera's focusing on Jared McVeigh back into the team. Of course, a dual best and fairest and a premiership winner with the Sydney Swans and an All-Australian in 2013. The calf injury shaken off and he's set to go. And now they'll zoom out so that people can see on the big screens. There's two of them here at the park. The rest of the Sydney Swans players. Buddy Franklin on the screen at the moment. So much expected of him, and one of the big pluses for the Swans, their last win against Geelong, they were able to spread the goal kicking around.
Without further ado, would you please welcome the Western Bulldogs.
Our very best, 'cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. We're the team of the mighty Bears.
It is the story that has given so much over the final series and now through an emotional grand final week with their fans turning out in force everywhere the players have been, whether it be Whitten Oval or here at Yarra Park out the front of the MCG today. The Western Bulldogs fans flying flags, waving banners, appreciating everything against the odds and unexpectedly this team has been able to do this year.
Sons of the West, red, white and blue, we come out snarling, Bulldogs through and through. Bulldogs fight very best. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. We're the team of the mighty West. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. The team of the mighty West.
Huge cheer for the Western Bulldogs.
The two combatants in the 2016 Toyota AFL Grand Final. Going to invite co-captain Jared McVeigh to join us along with coach John Longmire. Gentlemen, come forward. John, the build-up, you've been through it before. How about the crowd today? It's an amazing sight, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, Craig. It's probably as big as I've seen. It's huge, and obviously the extra space here since we last did it, it's you can really tell it's fantastic looking out here at the colours. It's sensational.
Boys had a light run this morning on the MCG. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we normally have a light session the day before we play, and today was no different. So we had a run just behind us, which was good. Blow out a few cobwebs, and the boys feel pretty good.
Well, good luck to you and the Swans tomorrow. I'm going to have a quick word with Jared, if I may, about getting into the team, mate. How close were you to not being here?
No, look, I was always confident. It's been a stressful 2 weeks, but we had a good plan in place, and looking forward to tomorrow.
You as an elder statesman of this football club, how are you preparing the younger members for what's going to be another big moment?
Yeah, look, it's obviously a huge week and a fantastic day today, but they're pretty level-headed and they know what's required tomorrow. And once we get home from here, we'll rest up and be ready to go.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Jared. Good luck.
Thank you.
And also, let's have a chat with the coach of the Western Bulldogs, Luke Beveridge, and the man who'll lead the team out, Easton Wood. You, as usual, appear a very calm and collected man, Luke, but underneath, how are you feeling?
Oh, it's just an incredible sight to see the Bulldogs faithful come out with a rare opportunity, I suppose. It's been such a long time since our Bulldog people have been able to experience the grand final week, and to see everyone out here today, and obviously the Sydney fans as well. It's just, I didn't anticipate it to be this big, but it's just amazing.
There's a lot of history, perhaps, in the making. Is that something you talk about with the team, or is it just basically, let's get on with it and play footy?
Oh, we're aware of it, but we haven't been talking about it. I think, the players have broken new ground. Even winning our first final together was a significant milestone, beating West Coast, and then making it into a grand final is, I suppose, a bit of a gorilla off our back when you compare it to, say, recent times. So we're well aware of the opportunity in front of us. We've worked hard to get here, as has the Sydney side, and we'll do everything we can to make the most of it.
I'm sure you will. Good luck to you, Luke, tomorrow.
Thanks,
and Easton, I just want to acknowledge how good is it to see Bob Murphy joining with his teammates here today. Just fantastic. Tell me about training yesterday. There wasn't a seat to be had at the Whitten Oval. It must have been a remarkable feeling.
Yeah, it really was. It was fantastic to see all the Bulldog faithful come out in droves and support us yesterday. It was a special day, and it's so fantastic to see so many faces here today. I was really blown away.
Well, it's going to be a new experience. Like the parade today was a new experience. What's the program for you guys before you run out onto this magnificent ground tomorrow?
We've just been trying to soak everything in, not get too overawed by the whole occasion, and just appreciate it for what it is. And then when the game starts, it's just business as usual, mate.
Get on with it. Good luck to you and the team too, Easton.
Thanks, guys.
Now, I'm going to invite... Thank you. I'm going to invite Jared and Kieran and Easton, if you would come forward and shake hands and hold aloft the 2016 AFL Premiership Cup. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Who will take home this magnificent piece of silverware tomorrow night at the MCG? And let's welcome back Mr. Mike Brady.
It's quite the sight to see Easton Wood and Jared McVeigh holding that Premiership Cup, and both so desperate to be holding it tomorrow afternoon. Let's take in a little more Mike Brady this time around.
1, 2, 3, 4. Comes a time you can do whatever turns you on. Go out and clear your mind. Me, I like football. There's a lot of things around. When you line them up together, the pretty wind turns down. Okay, here we go. Right, out there, 'cause I in there and fight. Out there and at 'em, show 'em your might. Out there, 'cause I don't let 'em in. Fly like an angel, you're out there to win. There's a lot more things to football than really meets the eye. There are days when you could give it up, there are days when you could fly. When you really love or hate it, depending on the score. But when your team run out, they kick a goal. How's the mighty roar? Roar! Out there, 'cause I in there and fight. Out there and at 'em, show 'em your might. Out there, 'cause I don't let 'em in. Fly like an angel, you're out there to win. Ha! Out there, 'cause you're out there to win. In there and at 'em, don't let 'em in. Out there, 'cause show 'em your hide. Fight like the devil, the crowd's on your side. Out there, 'cause in there and fight. Out there and at 'em, show 'em your might. Out there, 'cause show 'em your hide. Fight like the devil, the crowd's on your side. The crowd is on your side. Thank you.
If that does not get you in the mood for a grand final, I don't know what does. Mike Brady has still got it, no doubt about it. Roy Cazaly played 99 games for South Melbourne. I reckon a few Bulldogs fans, Clint Wheeldon, will be hoping it's up there. Wood tomorrow up there, Jakey Stringer.
And I have a pretty good suspicion that they might have a pretty good opportunity for it to be their day as well. The belief amongst the Bulldog supporters is just remarkable. Considering what they have been through, they haven't been here, well, apart from Hugh and maybe a couple of Hugh's mates that we spoke to earlier on who have been around since the 50s. Most of these fans have never experienced a day like it. But what they have seen their team do throughout this final series, a 47-point win over the Eagles at Subiaco, that doesn't happen. To beat the Hawks by 23 points here at the MCG and then to go up to Sydney at the Showgrounds and win a thriller by 6 points would give them belief. So, yeah, they've enjoyed their day today, but they know that the real thing is to come tomorrow, and you couldn't ask for a better way to prepare for a grand final. Tens of thousands of people have turned out. You wondered what sort of reaction it would be. The Bulldogs fans, they have turned out in their absolute droves. The pack is hunting and they are ready to go. The Swans, they've been here before, they know what it's all about. Will they be able to draw on their grand final experience?
What a superb prelude to grand final day it has been here today. Lucky it was a public holiday because absolutely no one was turning up to work today. Don't worry about that. Enormous crowds here stretching all the way down to Punt Road. It really has been quite something. Clint, you'll be calling the grand final tomorrow with Gerard Whateley. Congratulations, go well with that. What an experience it's going to be for everyone and for all our listeners as well. On ABC Grandstand, we'll be bringing you the most comprehensive coverage, of course, of the AFL Grand Final tomorrow. It'll be starting with the Coodabbeans from outside the MCG at 10 a.m. And then our coverage on Grandstand starts at midday with the Saturday agenda. We'll have Bob Murphy, we'll have the Brownlow medalist Patrick Dangerfield, we'll have Dennis Cometti, one of the greatest commentators of all time, who's calling his last grand final. Then join the team of Gerard Clint, Mark McClure, Ty Kennelly. I wonder if he'll be doing the Irish jig on the table again as he did a few years ago. And Brad Sewell, part of our team as well on Grandstand for the grand final. Thanks to Matthew Drew, thanks to Andrew Mays, Andrea Williamson, to Clint, Corbin and Clinchy as well. producing our coverage of the Grand Final parade. The crowd's departing now, and many will be back tomorrow. Make sure you catch the AFL Grand Final on ABC Grandstand as we continue the tradition. Will it be the Bulldogs? Will it be the Swans? It's going to be a cracker. Find out tomorrow. Thanks for your company from the Grand Final parade.